That's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month. And that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO.
Okay, Albert's joined the program, so
you can
we're
save
ready to
a
go.
ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 866-88-BIBLE. That's 866-88-BIBLE. 866-88-BIBLE.
WWL First News. I'm Tom Perumian on your official weather station, WWL AM, FM, and .com.
We're going to be warming up for your Saturday, starting off the morning in the 70s, but getting into the 80s this afternoon. There's about a 10% chance of a stray shower, so most of the day, if not all of the day, is really dry. It's just going to be mostly sunny with a little bit of a breeze, but that breeze makes it feel pretty nice out.
The forecast from WWL TV meteorologist Peyton Malone is moments away. A tough loss for the Pelicans. We'll have a full recap in sports coming up. French Quarter Fest kicks off again this morning. With a full look at the festival is WWL TV's Eric Paulson.
If you're looking to have some fun in the sun today, you can check out Day 3 of the French Quarter Festival in New Orleans. As always, there's lots of great music and food. Hundreds of musicians are filling multiple stages for the festival, which is happening for the first time since 2019. Things will kick back off today at 11 a.m. Let's take a look at some of the big names that will be taking the stage today. Charmaine Neville, the Soul Rebels, and the New Orleans Nightcrawlers. And coming up tomorrow, the Treme Brass Band, the Zydeco Twisters, plus many more.
Police say a 4-year-old girl is dead after her grandmother allegedly forced her to drink a bottle of whiskey while her mother watched. Police spokesperson Sergeant LeJean McNeely told news outlets the little girl's grandmother, 53-year-old Roxanne Record, and her mother, 29-year-old Kaja Record, were arrested Friday on a charge of first-degree murder. It's unknown if either of them had an attorney who could speak on their behalf. The East Baton Rouge Parish Coroner's Office says an autopsy showed a cause of death was acute alcohol poisoning. Authorities say the little girl had a blood alcohol level of 0.68. That's more than 8 times the 0.08 driving limit for an adult. Here's Tim Zimmer with WWL Sports.
After getting swept last week by the Arkansas Razorbacks, the LSU Tigers, they could clinch this weekend's series with a win over Missouri in Game 2 on Friday night. The Tigers, they needed extra innings, and it was Cade Doty that drove in a run in the bottom of the 10th inning to win it for LSU.
The 0-2. Hit high and deep to left field. This one is going to drop down, and the Tigers will walk it off. Stevenson touches home plate. Cade Doty with the RBI, and it's 4-3. Tigers win. Tigers win.
LSU improves their SEC record to 9-8 on the season, 26-12 overall. They'll play Game 3 today at noon right here on WWL. Over in the NBA, the Pelicans, they were trying to take a 2-1 series lead over the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, the Phoenix Suns, but came up short, 114-111. Brandon Ingram had 34 points in the loss. They'll try to even the series in Game 4 on Sunday night at 9 p.m. in the Smoothie King Center. And finally at the Zurich Classic, the team of Olympic gold medalist Xander Schauffele and the 2021 PGA Tour champion Patrick Cantlay, they lead the field after 36 holes at 17 under. 2 teams are tied for second at 16 under, and LSU Tigers Sam Burns and Florida Gator teammate Billy Horschel, they're just 3 back the lead, tied for 6. Tim Zimmer, WWL Sports.
Now, from WWL, the news, talk, sports powerhouse of the Gulf South, it's All Things Legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. Join us on the Oakland Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870, or connect anytime, anywhere on the Odyssey app. Now, to our Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union studios in the heart of New Orleans, here are attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri.
Hey, good morning. Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be on until 10 o'clock. Give us a call, 260-1870, or text us on the Oakland Heart Talk and text line. Good morning, Albert.
Hey, good morning, Doug. What's going on?
Man, I thought you'd be out at the golf tournament. Are you heading out there today?
No, I couldn't make it this weekend. Normally I do go, part of the Louisiana Hospitality Foundation, who's running a lot of the food out there. And we partnered with Four Kids Foundation for the golf tournament, and it's been a really good partnership. It worked out great last year, and it seems to be working out again. I know I've heard a lot of good comments and reviews for everything that's going on out there, from not just the golf, but in terms of the hospitality and the VIP tents and all that sort of thing. It's a lot of fun.
Well, I was thinking, I was riding around. I knew the Hospitality Foundation would be out there. I think next year we ought to set up the show on Sunday morning out there, and then we can consume some of their good food and maybe some of their adult beverages and give legal advice. Go. See if it's the same kind of legal advice we'd give otherwise. But
I can see if we can arrange that. I can talk to the powers that be, and maybe set up out there, and we have to figure it out through the station as well. But I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Did you go watch the Pelicans game Friday night?
I watched it. I watched it on TV. It's you kind of start looking at reasons why they didn't adjust to the Chris Paul high pick and roll. You can't just let Chris Paul stand around and shoot 10 or 15-foot jump shots, because he's going to make 90% of them. But then, if you really look at the statistic, that was an issue for the Pelicans. I think they shot like 20% or 25% from the 3-point line.
Well, so did Phoenix too.
Yeah, they did. But if you knock down a couple of those shots, and I'm not talking about Brandon Ingram or C.J. McCollum, I'm talking about the other 2 or 3 guys,
right.
That are out on the wings, that if you could just knock a couple of those down, it's a different game. It's a different process, and either whether you're behind or ahead, or whatever. So,
I think it was a matter of adjustments. What the Pelicans did Tuesday night was play a 94-foot baseline to baseline game, because they have the big trees in the middle, and the big trees are not baseline to baseline. Now, what the adjustment that Monty made was, we're going to go half court, and then we're going to make it a half court, let's just say high pick and roll with Chris Paul, and we don't have the beef inside to deal with that. If it's a half court series, we're not going to do so well. If it's 94 feet, we're going to do better. Now, this is one game I felt like we missed Zion a lot, because he could have matched Ayton and McGee in the middle, and they just couldn't do that. Plus, they were tied with 6 minutes to go. And
it was. Yeah, they had that little run, that really killed them. We went cold.
They were tied, and then, I think Larry Nance took 2 3-pointers in that last 6 minutes. That's not the guy you want to take those 3-pointers.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
Also, too, Chris Paul at his age, I think they probably made the determination, let him beat us in the perimeter, and he did. But what they were maybe counting on is
it wasn't a perimeter. I mean, he's shooting 10 and 15 footers. It wasn't like he's shooting threes. I mean, they did the pick and roll, and Valanciunas wasn't stepping up to But then, of course, when he did,
Ayton.
Then you'd get the lob to Ayton, and he'd just dunk it or drop it right in the basket. So it was a good strategy on their part. I think what they have to do is run somebody off the baseline from the corner and double in there, and then make them kick it out and make them beat you at that 3.
In that corner,
Mm-hmm.
But it was they were tied with 6 minutes, and they just got out of sync just enough in that last 6 minutes. Where now, one thing they didn't do is they didn't quit. I mean, they
Never.
They took that 10-point lead and they cut it down, and almost got it back into place. In fact, I think they were down by 7, and they fouled Ingram, who is fantastic. And they were going to see if that was a flagrant 3. I mean, he was fouled in 3-point area, so he's going to get 3 shots, and they were going to see if it's a flagrant. And I was like, man, that could be a 5-point play, and they're back in it. But it was not a flagrant. But they kept fighting. And Brandon, I will tell you this: if I had to go straight up right now for Anthony Davis for Brandon Ingram, just a one-on-one trade, I would do it. I think Brandon
street clothes.
No, I mean
they call him street clothes.
Is that what they call him?
Anthony Davis, yeah. They call him street clothes because he's maybe make half the season. He's always in his street clothes.
Well, there you go.
But you know what? And I hope this turns out to be true. So after the game, Friday night, Barkley was talking, and he says, "Look," he said, "here's the problem that Chris Paul's got." He said that when you light it up, and you're 34 years old, it takes you a few days to recover. He said, "I remember back when I was towards the end of my career, I'd have a great game, but I just couldn't bring it I couldn't bring it 2 nights later because I was tired. I played too much. I played at too high of a level." And he said, "I just didn't have that energy to come back." So I'm hoping that holds true for tonight, where Chris Paul just is a little bit off, a little bit out of sync. And you remember that first game, he lit us up and beat us.
Right.
And then the second game, he just didn't shoot well. He didn't play well. He was dragging a little bit. And that's when Barkley was talking about that. Actually, that was after the Tuesday night game. And then, of course, he got 3 days worth of rest and came back Friday and was, played a higher game. So hopefully here we are 2 days after Friday. He's gonna struggle a little bit.
I think Chris Paul is an assassin out there. I mean, he is just, and I'm saying that in a respectful way. I mean, he is just cold, cool, and aside from the fact that he beat us, he is really fun to watch. He is old school basketball.
Always was.
And he plays it like it, like it's supposed to be. Now, it was interesting on one of the drives he had. Well, I think he was driving baseline with Alvarado, and he hooked him and pushed him into him, and they called the foul on Alvarado.
He knew the behind him, wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah, I mean, he's
he's been doing it a while. One of the criticisms I had of Chris Paul was when he was here was he didn't shoot the ball enough. He's a great shooter.
WWL First News. I'm Dave Cohen on your official weather.
There you go.
Uh-oh.
No more news.
But he's a great shooter, and I just think he didn't shoot the ball enough. And now I think in the playoffs he's realizing Devin Booker's out, so he's got to step up, and he's stepping up. So I just hope Barkley's right. I hope he's tired tonight. We bring the series back to 2-2 and extend it to a six-game competition.
If they bring it to 2-2, I think they have a 33 to 40% chance of winning the series. I mean, 1 out of 3, 2 out of 5. I think they just got out of sync. They got Larry Nance is running around on the perimeter, taking 3-pointers, and.
But here's what they need to do. Here's what they need to do to win tonight. Because what's happening now is when Brandon Ingram's got the ball, or even when C.J. McCollum's got the ball, they come up and double him, and they force him to get rid of it, or break the double team, kick it, and as soon as they kick it to a wing, take it to the basket. Because that's what Herb did 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, he did.
Because nobody's there. All your big guys are up at the point trying to double Brandon Ingram. And so take it to the basket. Ayton's out of the middle. McGee's out of the middle. I've got the advantage. Let me go in there and so hopefully they'll take, look at that on the game film and let them foul you, get the dunk, get the layup, whatever the case may be, and maybe they'll have to quit doubling up top.
And I think they got, I think these two coaches, Willie Green and Monty are two of the class coaches of the NBA, and they're what the future is as far as the NBA coaches are concerned. And gosh, we hit big with Willie Green. Very, very fortunate.
I agree.
Also, we got the also we got the NFL draft coming up, which is really fun this year because we got 2 draft picks. And the only thing I have to say about the Saints in the draft is they have their own deal, they have their own plan, and nobody knows about it outside of Airline Highway. That all the prognosticators, and they have a specific plan that if anyone guesses, it's just a guess that they happen to, because they do things different, and the way they do things different has been successful. They don't follow the herd. They don't follow conventional wisdom. They have a specific, way of going about things where they just do not listen to outside forces, and they're not driven by media, public opinion, or any fans or anything like that, which is sort of refreshing. And I think part of the philosophy was, Jeff Ireland was under Coach Bill Parcells when he was at Miami and Dallas. Parcells used to say, when you scout, do not listen to what anybody else has to say about a player, because that's going to color how you view that player. And so just go by your own eyes. And that's what I think they do. And, even if the conventional wisdom says you're overpaying for this person, or you're giving up too many draft choices for this person, or you're moving up and you shouldn't be moving up, they do it anyway because they see something that most people don't see. And so it's always fun to watch.
The Sean Payton, Tom Brady, Miami story, right? So the deal was supposed to happen, that Tom Brady was going to Miami. They were going to give him a piece of the pie, and they were going to bring Sean Payton, and he was going to come out of retirement and go coach over at Miami with Coach Tom Brady and the Dolphins. And all of a sudden, this Flores thing happened, and the owner said, "No, we got to put the kibosh on it. We're not going to make that deal." And so it didn't happen, and that's comes on pretty good authority. It was a very good friend of Sean Payton that told a very good friend of mine that was scheduled to happen, and then the Flores lawsuit kind of said, okay, we're not going to do that now. We can't we can't do that at this point. Too much publicity on the lawsuit.
And I guess Tampa would never trade Tom Brady to a division rival, so that could never happen.
Correct. So Miami, right? So he's going to go to Miami, and Brady was going to own a perceived piece of the team and kind of run football operations over there. So,
well, I don't think they're going to get a quarterback. I just don't see that. This is at best a mediocre quarterback class, not in the first round. Now, I would take a flyer on Matt Corral. I think Matt Corral could be a player who's out the NFL in 3 years, or he could be a Brett Favre type player, anywhere in between. I'm not crazy about Sam Howell, but I would not trade up from Malik Willis. I would not use a first round pick on Pickett from Pittsburgh, but that's just me. Because they're good, but I don't think they're franchise quarterbacks, and I think you're a lot better off with James Wilson.
They're going to have to address the offensive line. They have too many folks that were either hurt or Armstead's gone, and so they need to address that. Grab an offensive lineman in the first round, and then come back, maybe get a wide receiver in the second.
Yeah, they have most of the mock drafts have Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa, and I think they saw him at the Senior Bowl, and these drafts are the ones that can these drafts are very important because you're paying Lynch, Marshawn Lynch, you're paying Ramczyk, you're paying Thomas, you're paying a lot of high dollar.
Yeah.
And so you have to get a lot of draft picks who are cheap labor. I mean, if you could call a couple $1 million a year cheap labor in order to balance that salary cap situation, and they fill the gaps at a very inexpensive cost. And so that's what they will have to do this year. And I think this is the perfect opportunity to do that with all those draft picks. And also, I think in the future, they will have some draft picks for Sean Payton, wherever he ends up, wherever that may be. So this will be a very important year for restocking, especially after locking up some veterans for the next 3 or 4 years like they have, and trying to keep the core of that team together. So it's going to be fun. You just don't know what they're going to do. When you hear with the 16th pick, you might hear the Saints have traded the pick, or you might hear, with the 9th pick, the Saints have made a trade. You just never know what they're going to do. And they sought to catch everybody by surprise, and they do not follow conventional wisdom, which makes great TV. So, and it's in Las Vegas too, which I think will probably be quite an event for the NFL draft.
Oh, absolutely. And it was such a no-no for many years to even say the words Las Vegas or gambling, and now now the NFL is all in.
They got their legs, they got their arms, they got everything wrapped around Las Vegas now. They used to avoid it about like the plague. All right, let's go to break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
Everybody working.
Working from home?
I work from my home office.
Working from the office?
I can be at my desk.
Thinking about work while leaving your home for the office?
So let's go to work. Here we are, driving to work. Commuting to and from work.
Connecting you with the news you need.
Okay, we have no callers at the moment, so
I listen to this all the way home, and
I can listen on my way back to work.
That's not bad for a work day.
Download the Odyssey.
got one short one after Causeway Coin Company, or a minute after Causeway Coin Company. I don't know
Get
what
in on
it
the
is.
first round action of the NBA playoffs with DraftKings Sportsbook.
Oh, there it is. It's about food.
NBA. This week, new customers can bet $5 on any team to win and get $150 in free bets instantly. You win no matter what. All DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also bet on NBA hoops with same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game.
Sorry about that news. They finally let me know exactly where they put it.
Risk-free bet up to $10 if your same-game parlay doesn't hit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code BIG870. Bet $5 on any NBA team to win their game during the first round of playoffs and get $150 in free bets instantly. That's code BIG870 at DraftKings Sportsbook. 21 and over, physically present in Louisiana. Availability varies by parish. Eligibility restrictions apply. Minimum $5 deposit. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full terms and conditions. Licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-770-STOP. 7867.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply. Come on, one more rep. You got this. 10. There it is. Nice work. You're a beast. Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenix makes a huge difference for me. Nugenix? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The big hurt, right? Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass. Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try for themselves? Yeah, Nugenix is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance. Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix. No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text BICEP to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help get you back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text BICEP to 321-321. That's BICEP to 321-321.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
Jerry and Larry's auto shop needed a small business loan fast, but instead of going to On Deck, Larry called
Loan Cannon!
Really, bro? There's a better way to get a fast small business loan. Go to OnDeck.com, and if approved, get your loan as soon as the same day. Your loan is on deck. Depending on certain loan attributes, your business loan may be issued by OnDeck or Celtic Bank, a Utah Chartered Industrial Bank member FDIC. Limited eligibility for same-day funding. OnDeck does not lend in every state. All loans subject to lender approval.
For birthdays, anniversaries, or just because. There's no better way to say I love you than with a pair of diamond stud earrings from Oakland Heart Jewelers. There's a great work of art in every box from Oakland Heart on Metairie Road.
Rejuvenate your days with Rejuvame. RejuvameMedical.com.
Brandon Hawley here. Premium Windows. Professionally measured, professionally installed. ReliefWindows.com. Where do you go when you want to sell your gold or silver coins?
CausewayCoinCo.com.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Freshly. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at freshly.com/terms.
I really want to eat better, but I don't have the time. What can I do?
Go to freshly.com. Our nutritionist-approved meals are prepared by skilled chefs and delivered to you fresh every week.
I don't have time to prep and cook.
Freshly's meals are already cooked. Just put them in the microwave for 3 minutes and you've got a hot, gourmet, delicious, nutritious meal. And now, get $125 off your first 5 orders when you text BITE to 64,000. With Freshly, there's no worry about grocery shopping, ingredient checking, or hours spent prepping and cooking. Savor Freshly's variety, from comfort food classics that are carb-smart and gluten-free to dairy-free options, plant-based meals, and more. And you can adjust meals and deliveries based on your schedule.
A healthy, delicious meal in 3 minutes? I have time for that.
That's Freshly.
And now get $125 off your first 5 orders when you text BITE to 64,000. That's BITE to 64,000. That's BITE to 64,000.
All things legal on WWL. Consult with Nicaud and Sunseri now on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line. 504-260-1870. And don't forget to rewind on the Odyssey app.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. As we wrap up talking about Pelicans and the Saints and maybe a little LSU. Got a text that's saying Pelicans need to make their free throws. They lost by 3.
Yes.
They missed
Yes.
6 or 7 free throws in that third quarter. And, you know, it's interesting. CJ is a deadly three-point shooter, but he struggles at the free throw line. He's about a 67% free throw shooter. Maybe you got to get somebody a hand in his face or something. Maybe already do a turnaround jump at the free throw line.
Or stand all the way to the back of the free throw area, right?
That's right. Also, too, before we go on to legal stuff, LSU played its spring game yesterday, and you know the saying is when you have 2 or 3 quarterbacks, you have none. LSU doesn't have a quarterback yet, so we'll see. I guess that'll answer itself, and that question will be answered not now, but in the fall. But I think it'll be Jaden Daniels, and I think number 2 will be Garrett Nussmeier, and I think the odd man out will be Brennan. That's just Doug Sunseri speaking. Nobody else. But looks like it'll be an 8-4 year next year, and I think that's on LSU baseball. LSU swept Missouri. They're 10-8 in the SEC conference. If they could get to 17 or 18 wins, they will host the regional. All right, Albert, I guess we've been dominated in the last 7.5 months by Hurricane Ida. Legal issues has been sort of common to everyone else. Wanted to ask you a question about this and how this situation would work. There's a lot of individuals, especially in St. John Parish, maybe Terrebonne, Lafourche, St. Charles Parish, that were hit the hardest by Hurricane Ida. They have an insurance claim. They hadn't been in their house for 7 or 8 months, and they just said, you know what, I just want to sell the house as is. If they want to sell their house as is, how does that work with their insurance claim?
Well, you just want to make sure that your claim is in, that you've had it adjusted either by an adjuster or a contractor or whomever to come out and put a number on it, document with photos, and then then your claim is in, your proof of loss is in. And so if you turn around and sell it after that, after giving them the opportunity to come back and re-inspect, then you've done all you can do. You sell it as is, and you have the right to put in the contract.
I have Earl on the phone from Picayune. Has a question about a will.
Insurance proceeds. Now you will lose your recoverable depreciation, whatever that might be, because you will not have had that opportunity to make the repairs. And just again, to kind of go over what that is, because I still have some folks asking me questions about recoverable depreciation. And listen, if you haven't done it yet, but you've gotten the work done, a lot of people have, gotten their first check, maybe their second check from the insurance company, and then they, were able to put their place back together. Well, what you need to do once that's done, take photographs of everything that you've done, and 10 copies of receipts, maybe canceled checks, whatever, to show that the work was completed, and then submit that to your insurance company and request your recoverable depreciation. If you look on the claim summary that they sent you,
You take a break
there's
after
going to be a
this.
column for depreciation. And if you have a replacement cost policy and not an actual cash value policy, submit those bills.
Going back live.
That 7, 8, 10, 4, whatever that number is, demand that they submit the recoverable depreciation within the delays allowed by law, and send it by email. Attach copies, and they should pay you. And if they don't, then there's an issue that needs to be addressed legally.
So basically, you still can do it. Now, let me ask you this: a follow-up question before we go to break. Should that be addressed when you sell the house, as to the status of the insurance claim? Should that be referenced in the sale document or somewhere, just to that about where the insurance claim goes? In other words, if you sell in the house,
only if you assign the insurance claim. The insurance claim's yours.
Okay.
So if you just sell the house as is, you're selling it as is, and the future owner has no rights to your insurance claim. But if you decide that, hey, look, pay me a little bit more, and I'm going to assign my rights to the insurance claim to you, I'll get another $30,000, and you can chase them for the other 30. Somebody may want to do that. I don't know, but yeah, we actually did that in a lawsuit that we had. The rights were assigned to actually my client put it into an LLC, and he purchased it from someone else. And in the purchase agreement, they assigned the rights to the insurance claim. So he was able to file suit on behalf of the previous owner to collect the proceeds. So that was part of the deal. But you only have to do it if you are selling your rights to the insurance proceeds. If not, they belong to you. The policy's in your name. But again, part of being made whole is collecting those insurance proceeds. Yeah. So, you don't want to waive that claim just because you're trying to sell your house.
There you go. All right, let's go to a break. We got Earl on the other side. We'll talk about wills, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
Get ready for Saints and NFL draft coverage. Better than the networks. Team WWL kicks it off Thursday at 4 p.m. Mike Haas and Deuce McAllister go one-on-one with the Saints' top brass. At 6 o'clock, Draft Fest begins. Bobby Hebert and Mike DeTillier with every pick as it happens. Exclusive interviews and all-pro analysis. Draft Fest, 4 till 11 p.m. Friday, 9 till 6 Saturday. Brought to you by TrainSouth.com. It's hard to stop a Train air conditioner. Only on Saints Radio, WWL.
Mike DeTillier here for BetMGM. BetMGM is pitching baseball fans a chance to swing for the fences. Register using the bonus.
Okay, last spot's going to be about a new news service.
Free bets when you place a $10 moneyline wager on any Major League Baseball game and either team hits a home run, regardless of your bet's outcome. Enjoy baseball like never before with BetMGM's daily promotions at your fingertips all season long. Sign up today with the king of sportsbooks. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions.
21 years of age or older to wager. Louisiana only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700 in partnership with Samstown Shreveport Casino. If you are a loved one or suffering from addiction, listen to Springfield Wellness Center's founder,
Paula Norris Metayer.
We help people through their detox with minimal withdrawal symptoms. Even though it's a 10-day treatment, I look at the first 4 or 5 days as the brain restoration piece. And when the brain restoration piece turns on, that's when we have patients go, wow, a light bulb turned on or a switch was turned on. All of a sudden, their prefrontal cortex is working for them. And their midbrain is also working. They're not craving. They're thinking clearly. They see things clearly. And they have more confidence.
Put your addiction behind you. Call Springfield Wellness Center, 504-291-4000.
Just call us. That's all. And we'll be waiting for you.
504-291-4000. 291-4000. Springfield Wellness Center. SpringfieldWellnessCenter.com. WWL celebrates our milestone 100-year anniversary in great company with other iconic New Orleans businesses like Metairie Bank, celebrating their 75th anniversary.
For 3/4 of a century, our passion at Metairie Bank has been to build relationships that make your dreams come true. This year, as we celebrate our 75th anniversary, we want you to know that we have and always will be the bank of personal service.
We connect with you. Metairie Bank.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Join Saints fans of all ages this Saturday at the Oxford Sports Performance Center for the New Orleans Saints Draft Boil presented by Cox. Don't miss a second of draft coverage while enjoying crawfish, jambalaya, hot dogs, plus beverages from Coca-Cola and Bud Light. Plus, enjoy live music, appearances by Saints players, mascots, and the Saints cheer crew. Proceeds benefit Big Brothers Big Sisters of Louisiana. All-inclusive adult tickets are only $25 and are available now at NewOrleansSaints.com.
Is your Hurricane Ida insurance company still playing games with you or giving you the runaround? Are you still dealing with multiple adjusters, unreturned phone calls, duplicate requests for information, and chronic underpayment, even non-payment? Are you emotionally exhausted? We can help. Call me, Doug Sunseri, longtime WWL radio host and attorney at Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm in Metairie and Mandeville at 504-837-1304. After so many years of you paying insurance premiums, we'll make sure your insurance company pays up.
At Community Coffee, we didn't set out just to make great coffee. We set out to make something that would bring out the best in people, morning, noon, and night. And who wouldn't want to share a cup of that? Community Coffee. Find us at your local grocery or visit us at communitycoffee.com.
Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, talks about timeshare cancellation.
If I could help everybody that has been lied to when buying a timeshare, I would. But the honest truth is I can't. And those that are telling you that they can without knowing the specifics of your timeshare, well, they're lying too. But if you were misled when buying a timeshare, if you were told your timeshare was a great investment or your maintenance fees would never go up, I might be able to help. 10 years ago, I was sued for millions of dollars by a timeshare giant in federal court with everything to lose. My home, my money, my kids' future. But I fought. I won because I fought for what was right, helping folks that have been lied to cancel their timeshare. Unfortunately, we can't help everyone, but I guarantee you if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare contract or you'll pay nothing.
Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-940-3322. 800-940-3322. 800-940-3322. If you're looking for real news, News Nation doesn't take sides or lean into political agendas. At News Nation, you get all sides. News Nation. News for all America. Go to newsnationnow.com/join us to find your television provider.
All things legal on WWL, AMFM.com, and the Odyssey app. Connect with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. Before we get to, I think, Earl, on a couple of commercials ago, and it just sort of hit me, and I hear this when we have witnesses and cross-examination or attorney argument or politicians, when someone will say, this is the honest truth. And they say that about 5 minutes into your conversation. So you're like, okay, this is the honest truth. So I'll start evaluating what were you telling me the 5 minutes before? Or what is the definition of the honest truth versus the regular truth?
Right.
So I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, see that, you start asking a bunch of questions and then all of a sudden they're like, no, this is it. This is honestly, no, this is really true. Okay. So the rest of it wasn't, because you could see it in their face and voice. And anyway, yeah,
That's just observational.
Right, right.
All right, let's go to Earl. He's got a question on wills. Hey, Earl, you and All Things Legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud.
Hey, good morning. After listening to you guys for several years, I had a will drawn up, and I'm originally from New Orleans, and I know when my father passed away, we had open succession. Well, I had this will drawn up, and when I went to get the final copy from the attorney here in Picayune, I said, well, now what happens? I said, when I die, everything laid out and everything, even funeral arrangements. But I said, did they come see you? He says, well, no, it has to go to probate. And I mistakenly thought that with a will, it eliminates the necessity of going to court, but apparently it doesn't.
Albert, you can take probate 101. Any law students who got to take their bar exam, you'd be well to listen to Albert right now.
Probate just is a fancy word to prove. And so basically you file the will with the court to prove the will, to prove it up that it is a legitimate will. If the will was done in authentic form, which means that it was executed before a notary and two witnesses, and there is a statement at the bottom of the will that the witnesses have, attested that they witnessed you sign it before the notary, and that it was done in your own free will, then it is what's called a self-proving will. Notarial wills are self-proving. So all you have to do is file that will with the court, and then the will be probated or proved, and then they can open the succession. And depending on what needs to be done with the succession, is going to determine whether or not an executor.
I've got John from the North Shore and an insurance question. When you
handle the affairs of the estate until everything can be distributed to the heirs. And it sounds like a very expensive process, and it's not. It used to be, but it's really not an expensive process anymore, and it's not a time-consuming process anymore. If the estate does not need administration, and I can give you some examples of that. So if you've got a number of properties, for instance, and you pass away, you've got 8 or 10 pieces of real estate, and between the time that you open the succession and the time that you're able to place the heirs in possession, things need to be done, right? The rents need to be collected, the lawns need to be cut, the maintenance here or there might need to be done on the properties. A piece of property might need to be sold or is in the process of being. All of these things would require an administration. And so also oftentimes brokerage firms request that, before we turn this money over that belonged to the decedent, you're going to have to show your authority that you're the one we're going to turn it over to. So there's something called letters testamentary that the court issues through the clerk's office, where the executor then has that authority. They submit a certified copy of that along with the death certificate and some forms, and then the money can be turned over to that executor or executrix to be placed in an estate banking account, pay the bills, and then it can be distributed among the heirs. So if you don't need all that, if it's your mom and she's got a house and that's about it, and maybe a couple of bank accounts here or there, we can open the succession and have you placed in possession right away, and then the accounts get split up among the heirs, and the real estate gets split up as per the title, and split up among the children of the decedent, and you go your merry way. And so it's a less expensive process and a quicker process.
Right. Well, what you said about the thing with the witnesses, I know when I went there for the final signing, the attorney brought in 2 secretaries to witness what I was doing. So I guess that would address what you said about the witnesses and signing and everything like that. So, and he even explained to me, he said, a probate is just like succession in Louisiana. And when my father died, I know we just went to an attorney we knew, and we didn't have to go to court or anything. I think I can't even tell you, maybe a couple of weeks, and we went back or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah, you just file the paperwork because that notarial will. That's why it's another good reason to get a will drafted, because that will in notarial form, they call it sometimes a statutory will, because that is what's filed. It's self-proving. So we don't need any witnesses. We don't need any affidavits. We don't need any reason for the heirs to go to court. Unless there's a dispute as to the validity of the will or the capacity of the will when they signed it or something like that. But otherwise, you just file the paperwork and submit it, and the court, will typically sign off on it, assuming that everything's done properly.
Right. So in other words, everything is set then, with those two witnesses, and I think he even put some kind of stamp on there or something. I'd have to go back and look at it, but so in other words, this thing was done correctly then with the witnesses and everything. So that really shouldn't be a problem then when something happens to me.
That's correct. And then just be sure that you sign the will too on every page. Every once in a while, I'll see where, it's only signed on the last page. You have to sign a will on every page. But otherwise, it's if you went to somebody who does this kind of thing on a regular basis, I feel pretty confident that your will would be in statutory form.
All right, let's go to a break.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate your help.
Thanks for the call.
Absolutely.
Thanks for the call, Will. That was a good explanation on Probate 101. We'll be right back after this brief time out on all things legal.
A bad team facing a good team is never completely out of it.
Nick Costos, co-host of You Better You Bet, 3 to 7 p.m. Eastern on the BetQL network.
There's 162 games in the
left
season.
spot
The best
is
teams
one
are
of
going
those
to lose
food
60 plus
spots
times, and the
again.
worst teams are going to win 60 plus times. Each night is its own individual entity. That's what makes
The
betting on
caller,
the
his
baseball
name
regular
is
season
John. He's from the North Shore, and his insurance question is between the insurance company, the state, and the people doing the work.
Eastern on Odyssey.
Hey folks, Bobby Aber, Cajun Cannon here. The playoffs are here, and you can make every game feel like Game 7 on FanDuel Sportsbook, an official partner of the NBA. Throughout the playoffs, all customers can place a no-sweat same-game parlay each week. You'll get up to
We're going to have in the neighborhood of just a shade over 5 minutes before the top of the hour news break.
When you do win, you'll get paid faster than a fast break. If you're new to FanDuel, just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up with the promo code ABEAR. That's HEBERT. Once again, that's promo code ABEAR. And if you already have an account, you're all set to bet no sweat. Either way, you'll get up to $20 in free bets if your same-game parlay during the playoffs doesn't win. FanDuel Sportsbook is an official partner of the NBA and WWL Radio.
21 plus and present in Louisiana. Permitted parishes only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max free bet $20 per week. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Remember the slogan, "There's a great work of art in every box from Oakland Heart"? Classic New Orleans commercial, right? But did you ever wonder what really goes into every box from Oakland Heart? We'll give you a hint. The jewelry itself is only part of it. With our team, customer service is an art too. Our experts make you feel like family. They answer all your questions, empowering you, giving you confidence in your decision. According to an online review from Elizabeth, there's nothing Oakland Heart won't attempt to do for their customers. And then there's the fact that every piece of jewelry from Oakland Heart is of better quality, like no other, at every price point. Chances are your mother, maybe even your grandmother told you that. Oakland Heart provides an experience and service that is an art form in itself. Then in the hands of our award-winning designers and craftsmen, the real magic happens. Artistry, expertise, passion, exceptional service. That's what's inside every box from Oakland Heart Jewelers on Metairie Road.
Hey y'all, spring is here and you're ready to celebrate. Hit the road and find a festival. April 22nd through 24th, Italian Festival in Tickfall. Scott Boudin Festival. April 23rd, Zwally Loggers and Forestry Festival. Dreams Come True, South Louisiana Crawfish Festival in Gonzales. And Grand Isle Migratory Bird Celebration. April 23rd and 24th, Melrose Arts and Crafts Festival. So make your plans to laissez les bon temps rouler.
This is Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser. Plan your road trip at LouisianaIsATrip.com.
Freshly.com.
By texting 64000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Freshly. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at freshly.com/terms.
I really want to eat better, but I don't have the time. What can I do?
On live after
Go
this
to
one.
Freshly.com. Our nutritionist-approved meals are prepared by skilled chefs and delivered to you fresh every week. I don't have time to prep and cook. Freshly's meals are already cooked. Just put them in the microwave for 3 minutes and you've got a hot, gourmet, delicious, nutritious meal.
We'll have 6 minutes before the top of the hour.
$125 off your first 5 orders when you text BITE to 64,000. With Freshly, there's no worry about grocery shopping, ingredient checking, or hours spent prepping and cooking. Savor Freshly's variety, from comfort food classics that are carb smart and gluten-free to dairy-free options, plant-based meals, and more. And you can adjust meals and deliveries based on your schedule. A healthy, delicious meal in 3 minutes? I have time for that. That's Freshly.
And now get $125 off your first 5 orders when you text BITE to 64,000. That's BITE to 64,000. That's BITE to 64,000.
Now, more All Things Legal, underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. All advice given and opinion shared are solely those of attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri. Back to WWL.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. Let's go, John, from the North Shore. The North Shore, a place of no potholes, police protection, garbage pickup, working traffic lights, where DAs prosecute crimes and where mayors do not hide under the desk when it comes to difficult problems like crime. John, what you got for us, brother?
And plenty of pine trees falling. So.
Pine trees, too. There you go.
Yeah. Pine trees. No, I had a question. I was one of the unfortunate ones that had America's insurance when the storm come through. And it's my rent house in Covington. It's and I had no problems. They paid the the initial installment. I got a contractor in, signed a contract. They were working with the thing, that I guess the stuff that they come back and had to add to it, it'd be done. Okay, the problem is now with America's out, my insurance, my contractor has shut down on account of they have went through all their money. We're about 80% complete. I think now, I can't, Century, I think, is the new adjusters. And, they said it's going to be another 3 or 4 weeks. My question is, I'm caught in the middle here, I think. The contractor says they're waiting on my insurance. The insurance company says they're getting everything together. I was just wondering, am I just going to have to sit and wait, or?
Yeah, I think. What's happening is Americas is one of the companies. You had Americas, you had Standard, I think Standard Fire. You've had Lighthouse that have gone into receivership, but they're admitted companies with the state of Louisiana. So the Louisiana Insurance Guarantee Association is taking over the claims. So that you're going to have a new set of claims adjusters, and you're going to have a new set of, you basically have to start the process over with that new claims adjuster. You also lose.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're right, but that's what I'm saying. This been going on, and now then, over 2 months now.
Right. Well,
I've been in limbo.
Well, one of the things I was going to tell you is one of the incentives for insurance companies to pay out money quickly is the bad faith laws that state that you have to pay out undisputed damages within 30 or 60 days. Unfortunately, when Louisiana Insurance Guarantee Association takes over, there's not those bad faith laws. So if they pay late, early, or in between, there's no sanction against them. So therefore, they pretty much go at their own speed. So yes, you are in limbo.
Okay.
That's it. So you are in limbo. Now, what I would do is I would just be persistent in the squeaky wheel.
Yes.
Albert, you can probably elaborate on that.
I call them every week. They just had an adjuster out 2 weeks ago, and he said it'd be another 3 or 4 weeks before he would get it turned in. Back, I guess, to who's handling claims to get to my contractors. So, that's my thing. I'm sorry. What?
Do you have a lost rents component to your policy? lost rental?
Yes, but see, within the next month or two, I'm fixing to reach my limit.
Right. So
in
that's
other
why
words, I think. That's really not. I'm trying to get something worked out, or am I going to have a right? For my rental claim after I run out on account of this.
Right. So here's and you won't. So that's what I'm saying. If you could, what I would do is send an email to that adjuster and just plead your case from a very, hey, look, can you really help me out here and move mine to the top of the stack? Here's what's going on. I need this rent money. I've got lost rents. It runs out in 2 months. Everything you've told us today that, my contractor's only 80% finished. We need an extra X amount of dollars. Could you please just look at it and evaluate it so, I can go ahead and get back to normal. And look, I think if you just, you catch more flies with sugar.
Yeah.
So if you just write a nice little email and, the adjuster may look at it and say, man, let me try to help this guy out. And, because they've got a million of them, and so they're going to do them at their, at whatever pace and in whatever order they decide. So if you can kind of convince them to nudge yours along. But I would do it in writing and just say, look, do this for me.
I would be a polite, persistent pain in the rear end.
Oh, I have been, and the adjusters, the adjuster I met with last weekend, he was nice as could be, but it's just bad. I'm sitting here. My house should have been finished 3 months ago. My tenant is still ready to move back in. He has not got another place to rent. There was a big shop.
All right, John, we got to go.
House.
We got to go to national news, local news. Thanks for the call. We'll see you in 10 minutes and all things legal for hour number 2.
The News Talk Sports Powerhouse. WWL New Orleans, WWL FM and HD1 Kenner New Orleans, and Odyssey Station.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Linda Kenyon in Washington. U.S. State Antony Blinken and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin are in Kyiv, Ukraine today, meeting with President Volodymyr Zelensky. This member of parliament on why this meeting is so important.
Visits of international leaders and high-level officials are very important for not only moral support of Ukraine, but also for their own understanding of what is going on the ground.
U.S. Senator Ed Markey saw what's going on the ground in Ukraine after a congressional visit to the region.
The United States must ensure that we provide all of the humanitarian aid which is necessary.
Fake fax cards among New York City public school teachers spark real outrage.
It's not safe for our kids.
The Department of Education says fewer than 100 employees are impacted, but it's not explained how it determined the vaccination cards were fake, only adding that law enforcement is investigating.
People have been faking the cards since the pandemic started, and the fact that the DOE is just finding out about it now, it's too little too late.
WCBS TV's Andrea Klein-Thomas. A class action lawsuit against a big bank gaining momentum. Here's CBS's Wendy Gillette.
Civil rights attorney Ben Crump plans a news conference on Monday regarding a discrimination lawsuit against Wells Fargo. Crump and other attorneys claim the bank discriminated against black mortgage applicants.
Virginia's Attorney General decides not to prosecute 2 U.S. Park police officers in the 2017 fatal shooting of unarmed motorist Bijan Gezar. His parents are astounded.
Bijan's mom, Kelly Gezar, said they're asking the Fourth Circuit Court not to accept the Virginia Attorney General's request to dismiss the Commonwealth's appeal.
We are standing here, letting them get away.
His father, James, broke down in tears.
I beg everyone to put yourself for a few seconds in my sad life.
WTOP Radio's Valerie Bonk. On Florida's redrawn congressional districts that favor Republicans.
It reduces the number of black congressmen, but the partisan skew is just breathtaking.
University of Virginia law professor Larry Sabato. As New Mexico confronts massive wildfires, Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham issues an urgent message.
We need people to leave areas that have fire warnings. You need to leave. The risks are too great.
Employees at the Starbucks flagship in Seattle have voted to unionize.
We're showing Howard Schultz and we're showing other corporations that are just like Starbucks that we're not going to be silenced and we're not going to stop.
Hundreds of employees and supporters marched in downtown Seattle. This is CBS News.
Get CBS News Radio on the Odyssey app. All the audio that matters to you is on Odyssey. News, music, sports, and podcasts. Download the Odyssey app today.
If you owe the IRS back taxes, then get ready to pay up. The IRS has giant private collection agencies actively tracking down folks who owe the IRS. So if you think dodging them was stressful in the past, it's going to get a whole lot tougher. Optima Tax Relief has this advice. Don't wait. Solve your tax problems now before it's too late. Optima Tax Relief works to stop the demand letters, stop the aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS collectors from targeting you. Ask Optima about the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands, and nobody knows this program better than they do. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, and they get results, having resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get a fresh start. Call today for your free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
WWL First News. I'm Dave Cohen on your official weather station, WWL. The Coast Guard is searching the Mississippi River for 3 children believed to be in the water. A 15-year-old boy, a 14-year-old girl, and an 8-year-old girl were last seen in the water near the Crescent City connection. The Coast Guard searched overnight with boats and helicopters. A fire at the Valero refinery in Miro.
Neighbors tell us that they felt the ground shake underneath them, and when they went outside, they saw black smoke billowing from the refinery. St. Bernard Parish President Guy McGinnis tells us that 2 workers were injured in the fire. They were both taken by ambulance to University Medical Center for treatment.
WWL TV's Sam Windstrom reports 8 people were hospitalized as a result of the fire. The cause is under investigation. Fire tore through a storage facility on Carrollton near Canal, as we hear from WWL TV's Dennis Waltering. It was a difficult blaze to battle.
Firefighters arrived at the scene around 8:15 last night and found a vehicle burning inside the self-storage facility. While trying to put out the fire in the vehicle, firefighters noticed that flames had already spread to surrounding storage units. That's when a second alarm was sent out. Firefighters had to make forced entries into the storage units by using axes and heavy-duty circular saws.
Persistent water problems outside of Slidell have crews this coming week treating the water to try and address any potential problems. WWL TV's Mike McDaniel with details.
Parish leaders plan to do a chlorine flush for the entire Crossgates water system to disinfect the drinking water, which some people say is making them sick. It all starts Monday morning at 9 and will last for 60 days. Eyewitness News investigator David Hammer reported residents blamed a sewage leak near a drinking water main last spring for medical conditions like rashes and bacterial infections. St. Tammany Parish President Mike Cooper doesn't believe there's a correlation here and says the chlorine flush is just a precaution.
Here's Sean Ross with WWL Sports.
The Pelicans feel like they should be up in the series against number 1 in the West, Phoenix. After dropping Game 3 at home, guard Jose Alvarado says the team needs to minimize the small mistakes if they want to upset the Suns.
As a guard, when I'm in there, at least I got to do my job and get my big man, everybody else involved, and I didn't think I did that as well. So I take ownership of that.
It'll be another red out in the blender tonight. Tip-off for Game 4 is at 8:30. The NFL draft just days away. The Saints have 2 picks in the first round. WWL's draft coverage begins Thursday with the Saints draft preview, hosted by voice of the Saints Mike Haas and former Saints running back Deuce McAllister, followed by Draft Fest. Cajun Cannon, Bobby Hebert, Christian Garrick, and Mike Detillier will break down all the action all 3 days of the draft live right here on WWL. And the PJ's best are going low at the Zurich Classic. Final round just got started. Leaders Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay have a 5-stroke lead on the final day. Former LSU Tiger Sam Burns and teammate Billy Horschel are 6-back in a 3-way tie for third. Sean Ross, WWL Sports.
And now your local weather expert forecast.
Sun to partly cloudy skies during the day today. High temperatures getting into the low mid 80s. By Monday, we'll see some spotty showers during the day, but a better chance of rain looks to be moving in during the late evening and night. A cluster of thunderstorms look to roll into the region from Mississippi, so a little bit more of a focus on the North Shore later on Monday. That doesn't appear to be severe. And then a cold front settles into the area by Tuesday, mostly cloudy and mostly dry. Only a few pop-up showers are possible with the front. Tuesday afternoon, a high of 80 degrees. From your local weather expert forecast center, I'm WWL-TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Franklin.
And I'm Dave Cohen, WWL First News.
From WWL, the news, talk, sports powerhouse of the Gulf South, it's All Things Legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. Join us on the Oakland Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870, or connect anytime, anywhere on the Odyssey app. Now, to our Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union studios in the heart of New Orleans, here are attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri.
Hey, we're back. Hour number 2, Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. Give us a call 260-1870 or text us the Oakland Heart Talk and text line. In fact, we do have a text. I think we get more sports text than we do law text in a lot of ways. Some days it says, "Good morning. Do you think Sean Payton will coach in the NFL again, or would he consider coaching in college if the money was right?" I don't think there's no way in heck he'd ever coach in college. That's a different deal.
Yeah.
You got recruiters, you got recruiting, you got alumni, you have showing up at class, study halls. It's a totally different deal. In fact, I think when you coach in college, you're probably only coaching about 40 or 50% of the time. You have a lot of other obligations that don't involve football directly, and I think that would be too much. But Albert gave the anecdote earlier that Miami was almost a done deal, and I think he's going to coach somewhere else, and the Saints will get a couple of draft picks for it. Hopefully, a couple.
How many more years was he under Saints contract? So if he,
I think it's to 2025 if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
So he's going to get by September, he's going to have the itch, and he's going to be jumping out of his skin by December, and he'll be coaching probably by next January. Is my prediction.
Yeah.
Just you can only play so much golf, go to so many Caribbean islands, and after that you start getting bored. Even though I would like to experience that myself to know for sure that I would be bored with doing that. Especially he's still fairly young. I think retirement. How can I say it? It's some people believe it's overrated in the sense that it's like there's only so many fish you can catch, so many newspapers you can read. Now I'm speaking old school,
right?
And so many golf balls you can hit. But so I think he'll have the itch. Albert, we were talking earlier about the Louisiana Insurance Guarantee Association, and we just elaborate a little bit more. We've had several. We had recently last week and a half Lighthouse Insurance Company. And they wrote a lot of policies in Louisiana. We've come across them quite a bit. When a lot of times once damages are quantified by us or they're quantified, and we submit it to the insurance company, and they're sitting on their hands, we as attorneys start screaming bad faith, saying you have 30 or 60 days to pay what's undisputed. You guys are just sitting on it. And a lot of times that gets the insurance company sort of moving. And you're saying, okay, we have a liability here. It's increasing. We have to do something to mitigate that. But you don't have that advantage in dealing with Louisiana Insurance Guarantee Association. You are given some good advice on how to deal with that.
Well, again, your hands are kind of tied. It's almost as if you're dealing with a flood claim, right? So I'm dealing with a flood claim right now. I don't have very many of them, but there's a particular flood claim where they just the adjuster is being an ass. I can't describe it any differently.
What do you really think?
Oh, I really think it's something worse, but I'm toning it down for the radio, right?
All right.
But and just nitpicking. Your adjuster didn't sign their claim summary, so you submitted, so we reject it. Well, you go back and look, and their adjuster didn't sign theirs either. It's just it's a digital signature on the document. But those are the kind of silly things that they're getting kicked back for, that if I was able to bring it to a jury or a judge with bad faith penalties available to me, I would feel very, very confident that we'd be able to hit them for bad faith penalties. And, it also kind of makes the damages go higher when somebody's acting that way. And so the problem is there are no bad faith penalties against FEMA, the National Flood Insurance Program. And the same holds true for LIGA, right? Louisiana Insurance Guarantee Association. So just a quick primer on that. If you look at your insurance bill, right? They break down certain things in the bill, and towards the bottom you'll get like the tax, and then there'll be like a guarantee association fee. So if your company is an admitted carrier, meaning that they participate in the guarantee association program, then they pay so much of the premium, which is charged back to you, but they pay into this guarantee association fund for this exact reason. In the event that one of the insurers involved or more goes bankrupt or can't pay their bills, then their company is taken over by LIGA, and LIGA takes, so it's kind of like reinsurance almost, but because it is reinsurance, and it was either this or else you get zero, then the law basically says that you're not entitled to penalties or attorney's fees for any type of bad faith handling of the claim. So be careful, because if you ever have a policy that's submitted to you by an insurance agent, and there's a little form sometimes you'll have to sign, and it'll say, I understand that this carrier is not an admitted carrier, and that there will be no bankruptcy protection for you. And they won't even use that word, bankruptcy, insolvency, or something along those lines. But basically, once you sign that, then you know that you don't have any backup protection. Occasionally, it's a high risk, but more often than not, it's a high risk company, and that company, you're being written or assigned to that company because nobody else wants to write the risk, or the premium would be so much more expensive. So you just, it's insurance. You determine the extent of the risk that you're willing to absorb yourself, much like a higher deductible, right? Some people have a $10,000, $20,000 deductible, just because I'm going to, I'd rather take my chances that nothing is going to happen, as opposed to paying a higher premium every year. And if nothing happens, I'm out of that money. So just be careful if you ever see that document. Realize that, hey, I may not have any protection if something happens to my insurer.
Yeah, because I think a lot of times, you're trying to get insurance to comply with maybe a lease obligation or your mortgage company, or certain situations, or you might get a surplus on carrier. And also too, a lot of times the coverages are a lot skinnier, and you don't find that, or you don't realize that until there's a loss. You'll have business policies that maybe your landlord requires you to have, but you don't have business loss. You don't have loss for your equipment. You might not have certain coverages because of these policies. They are cheaper. They're surplus line carriers, but also they may not even have the full extent of coverage that you would otherwise. So that's just, sometimes business owner and homeowners learn that after the fact. And unfortunately, and I'm one of those guys. I don't read, a lot of times I don't read the policy until after there's a claim, or get into it as much as maybe I should, because you just sort of renewal, pay the premium. You ask your agent, is it, am I covered? Yes. And you go from there. So,
exactly.
But so that's that. But surplus line carriers, or one surplus line carrier is probably, you don't have to worry about bankruptcy. It's generally Lloyd's of London, because as we'd say in Bucktown, Lloyd's of London probably invented insurance. So they've been around for.
They actually, it wasn't that way in London. They were betting on whether or not ships would sink.
Right. So.
And so it was honestly a bet. It was, I bet it sinks, I bet it doesn't, and that's kind of what you're doing. If you go get in line at Best Buy and you're buying a TV, and they say, "Hey, look, you want to buy the service plan? You give you 2 years for another $60." I always look at the cashier and say, "So wait a minute, you want to bet me? So you want me to bet you that your product's going to break in 2 years?" Because that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm betting you $60 that your product's going to break in 2 years.
After you spent 2 hours trying to convince me as to the attributes of that product and why I should buy that over other products.
Exactly. So look, real quickly, I do want to change this up because I had a client come in and they were just at wit's end, and this involves the this public adjuster group. There are many of them out there, and I'm sure some are better than others. But she said, she gives me this contract, and she says, "Look, I've got a public adjuster that I'm dealing with, and he wrote up an estimate for $110,000, and the insurance company basically they wrote me a check for X, maybe another 20,000." So she says the adjuster then takes 10% of the whole amount, meaning including the amount that they had already paid me. So they paid me 20,000. They gave me another 20,000. So he took 10% of the $40,000, even though I'd already gotten 20. And then when the line's drawn in the sand with the insurance company, he says, "Look, we're going to refer you to our attorneys." All right. So they're hooked up with these attorneys in Texas.
Yes.
And so the attorneys in Texas want a 35% contingency fee. Okay, which is number one, this is property damages, right? And number two, it's higher than your typical personal injury contingency fee. So now you're going to pay your public adjuster 10% of your claim, and your lawyer from Texas a 35% contingency fee. So now you're at 45% of your claim that they're going to eat up. Oh, and by the way, it's going to be from the first dollar that you've already received. And then in the contract, it says you're going to pay the lawyer's expenses, including travel.
Right. So
if this lawyer's got to come in for a deposition or trial to New Orleans or to Metairie or to, wherever, they're going to stay in a hotel. They're going to take a flight. They're going to, have their meals all week or however long they're here, and you're going to pay for that because you got to be careful and read your documentation. And then the contract, of course, it's illegal for these public adjusters to charge a percentage of the fee. So what this guy did was he said, "Look, we're going to charge you $200 an hour for our work." And what he did was every little thing he did, he bumped it up beyond what 10% would be. And so it maxes out at 10%. So, he just made up a bunch of stuff that he did, and then it maxes out at 10%. And they said, "Oh, and by the way, if you terminate us, you owe us the full amount of whatever we write." So when the insurance company said, "Look, we're not paying anymore," he did another estimate now at $150,000 because he knew that now if you get paid anything, he's going to get, according to his contract, he's going to get 10% of now $150,000 as opposed to $110,000 that he originally wrote. be very wary of these public adjusting companies. Be very wary of the scams that they run. You know, I can't stress it enough. You know, they're going to come in and promise the moon. They're smooth talkers. You know, they're going to go write up this big estimate, because if they write up a big estimate, they get 10% of it, right? And in this case, it was 10% of the money you've already got. I can promise if you hire our firm, you're going to only pay a percentage on new money only. Anything we don't collect anything for you beyond what you've been paid. You don't pay anything, and we take nothing off of the money you've already received. That's craziness. The other issue with these public adjusting companies is they are not governed by the Bar Association like lawyers are, right? Lawyers have ethical duties that they have to abide by and deal with on a regular basis in terms of treating their clients fairly, representing them zealously, all of these types of things. These public adjusters don't have those same types of rules and regulations that govern them. And, you know, many of them are from out of town. Just be very careful.
Yeah, I think we'll talk a little bit more about that after the break, because I do have a few comments on that also. Let's go to break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief time out.
Jazz Fest is back, and WWL wants to send you there, courtesy of Miller Lite, the official beer sponsor of the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival. It's Miller time. See Red Hot Chili Peppers, Lionel Richie, The Who, Nelly, Ivan Neville's Dumpster Funk, and more. Winning is easy. Go to WWL.com/contest and enter for your chance to win. But you gotta do it by midnight, April 24th. Win 2 free tickets to Jazz Fest, presented by Shell. Good luck and happy festing from WWL.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
is pretty bad.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is
last spot is Burkhardt Heating and Air.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres? No matter your learning style or experience level, Babbel has lessons designed for you that will get you speaking quickly and confidently.
I tried learning Spanish before, but I couldn't stick with it until I found Babbel.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now we speak Spanish.
I can't wait to use our new language skills on our upcoming adventures.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
If you're looking for real news, News Nation doesn't take sides or lean into political agendas. At News Nation, you get all sides. News Nation, news for all America. Go to newsnationnow.com/join us to find your television provider.
Protect yourself from the headaches of dealing with a non-licensed contractor. Go to lacontractor.org and make sure the person or company who wants to work for you is licensed by the Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors. It's your money. Make wise decisions and protect yourself.
We're feeling a little nostalgic. Remember the classic jingle, "There's a great work of art in every box from Oakwood Heart"? It's still true, you know. It's why Gambit readers once again voted us best local jeweler. And it's why you have to shop Oakwood Heart. Just listen to this online review from Josh. Oakwood Heart is the only place to go. Full stop. I'll be back for any future jewelry purchases. Oakwood Heart rocks. Pun intended. See? New Orleans is all about keeping it real, authentic. In our culture, being local and honest still counts for something. So does offering finer jewelry at better prices. Shocking, but true. Here in our Metairie showroom, we create an enormous selection of beautiful jewelry in every price range, for engagements and every one of life's special moments. And don't forget Just Because. We're very big on Just Because. Celebrate the best thing that ever happened to you with a gift from the city's best local jeweler, Oakwood Heart on Metairie Road.
We are all on this planet together, so join Odyssey and find your one thing.
Earth Day may have passed, but you don't need a holiday to celebrate the Earth. Here are some simple things that will have a long-term impact. Make the switch to eco-friendly cleaning products, or make your own from ingredients like Castile soap and vinegar. Spend more time outside instead of watching TV and using electricity, and walk or bike to close destinations. That way, both you and the Earth can celebrate. Join Odyssey, and together, each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow. What's your one thing?
Come on down to the Silver Slipper. Hi, this is John from the Silver Slipper, and I just want to tell you about a very special promotion we're doing here. Now, when you play here at the Slipper any day in April, May, and June, you'll be earning entries to win a Shark Ion Robot Vacuum that evening at 7 p.m. That's right, we're giving away a Shark Robot Vacuum every night for 3 months. So come on down to the Slipper and earn your chance to win. We're on the beach here in Hancock County, Silver Slipper Casino. We are proud to be your host on the coast. Have a good time at the Silver Slipper. Are you ready for the heat and the moisture this year?
Okay, going live after this.
Paul LaGrange, host of the Home Improvement Show. Now's the time to get your AC checked out. But who should you call? Trust my friends at Burkhardt Air Conditioning and Heating. With 30 years in the business, they really know what they're doing, and they can work on any air conditioning system. Burkhardt gets your system running right, and they can find and fix problems before you really need that AC this year. Schedule your tune-up now with Burkhardt at acpromise.com and tell them Paul sent you.
All things legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on WWL and Odyssey Station. Connect now on the Oak Winhart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. WWL is the home of WWL Draft Fest, a 3-day festival of all-pro coverage of the Saints and NFL Draft. The excitement kicks off at Thursday at 4 p.m. with the Saints Draft preview with Mike Haas, Deuce McAllister, as they go deep inside football with Coach Dennis Allen, Mickey Loomis, and the Saints top brass. This is Don't Miss Radio. Then at 6 o'clock, Draft Fest begins. Join Bobby Hebert, Christian Garrick, and Mike Detillier live from the Urban South Brewery on Chapatulas, because nothing goes better than football than world-class craft beer. Friday, Draft Fest goes from 4 to 11. Then join WWL for Draft Fest Saturday, live at Rouse's on Airline Highway from 11 a.m. till 6 p.m. Kick off the 2002 Saints season with team coverage and New Orleans Saints Best. Saints WWL Radio, AM, FM, and .com. So that's a big week of a lot of festivals. You got Draft Fest, you got French Quarter Fest, you got Jazz Fest, you got Pelicans playoffs, and you got LSU baseball. It doesn't get better than that. Albert, we were talking a little bit before about public adjusters. There's a couple of there's one of the issues regarding public adjusters when you hire them initially is they really don't have an enforcement mechanism if the insurance company says no. The public adjusters do say quantify the damages. They do submit it to the insurance company. They do have communications with the insurance company. But if the insurance company says no, what is their recourse?
They got to hire a lawyer.
Right. And
I have Mike on the phone would like to talk about public adjusters.
And one of the things that what I wanted to state is if you have to hire an attorney, hire a local Louisiana attorney to handle the claims, because they know the judges, they know the court system, they know how things work around here, and they know the law. If you have a out-of-state claims adjuster who hires an out-of-state lawyer, like you said, when they come down and stay on Poydras Street at one of the hotels at $200 a night and eating a French Quarter, you got to pay for that. And it's just not efficient. I always tell people, when they said, well, why shouldn't I use this Houston lawyer or Austin lawyer? I say, when you get a hamburger, do you drive to Houston or you go around the corner? And I don't mean to be simplistic, but it's just a reality to it as far as economics is concerned and that sort of thing. So I just want to state, if you're in that situation, hire someone local who's been in the court system, someone when you walk into the courthouse, chances are they're going to be there at least once or twice a week. Yeah, Albert?
Well, again, just to follow up with that, don't just hire somebody local. Hire somebody local with experience. Yes. Interview that lawyer. Don't believe that just because they have a commercial running on TV or social media or the radio that they've done this before, or they have experience specifically handling hurricane loss claims for clients. A lot of people are jumping into the business, and I related this story a long time ago. A young lawyer from a newly formed firm was actually giving a continuing education class, and so I signed up for the class just to kind of brush up a little bit, hear what's going on, see if there's a new case or two that might not be familiar with, whatever. Well, this guy proceeds to say that he didn't read his insurance policy until the night before giving the class. So he's kind of and look, I learned that this can be done too, and you can collect this, and this was not excluded. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the guy that is now advertising for hurricane claims, and they has no experience. They hadn't even read his own policy, and so that's the kind of thing you have to worry about and be on guard for. The other thing is, you hear some of these law firms that you've never heard their names before. Look on the television, when at the bottom of the screen, and look at the fine print, and it'll say something like, your case may be referred out. So basically what they're telling you is that we're just this advertising arm. We're here to get as much business in as possible, and we're going to refer this out to some lawyer that, may never have done this once. And so you just don't know what you're getting. And so be very careful. Listen when you're listening on the radio when they start going, it's talking 100 miles an hour at the end of the spot to clarify all of the issues. And some of these folks, they had to associate with a local lawyer just to have a local presence in the state, so they could come in and try to handle your work. When it comes time to go file that petition that gets removed to federal court, now all of a sudden, these guys are going to have to come in from Florida, come in from Texas, or wherever they're from, and handle your claim. Believe me, they're not going to want to take time away from their practice to come deal with this. So they're going to do what they can to try to settle your case, perhaps for even less than they should be settling it for. So, and then when they do come in town, you're going to be paying for them, $200
take a break and then go to
$300 and $400 a night if they stay downtown. So that's all going to come out of your portion of any claim. So just be very careful when you're hiring an attorney. Look for someone who's done this, for Katrina, for Gustav, for all of these claims and storms all the way through Zeta, and.
Well, if I'm on the operating, table, and I'm about to be put under, and I look up at the neurosurgeon, and he's like, how many of these brain surgeries have you done? He says, oh, this is the first one. I'm going to cut my teeth on you, and I hope things go well. You'd probably say, I'm a little, I'm not sure this is the best situation. You don't want your hurricane claim, someone cutting their teeth and learning how to do it on your dime. So, and also, again, there's many local lawyers who do a great job, and interview them. Also, interview them about their rate. Shop your rate. Shop, the percentages and all, because I think if you shop them, you can, you also get a deal. Get your best. That's a component of that also. All right, let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
It's been a week.
Cannot turn away from this tragedy in Ukraine.
I signed an $800 million package.
We still need a lot more.
A Trump judge.
Okay, I have Mike Holden. He is on I-10 at the moment, and he has a public adjuster story he needs to tell.
Stay with us throughout the weekend.
Extending Title 42 is not our decision.
They think vetting people at the border is racist.
And as the new week begins,
What's going to happen next?
WWL, the news talk sports leader.
Got chronic joint pain, not having success with steroids, but trying to avoid surgery? Well, thankfully, there's a better way, and it's now available here from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Hey, it's Tommy Tucker, and I'm talking about new therapies.
Okay, podcast commercial is the last one in the set, and then we'll go live.
That can restore and repair damaged joint tissue, providing lasting relief with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in precision regenerative medicine with over 100 clinics across America and literally thousands of satisfied patients. If you've got joint pain due to arthritis, knee pain, hip pain, shoulder pain, don't just think the old ways of dealing with pain are the only ways. You need to learn more about these new biologic therapy options that can change your life. Call QC Kinetics now. It's a free consultation with local medical professionals. 504-350-2282. That's 504-350-2282. QC Kinetics, 504-350-2282.
Looking for the perfect gift of jewelry she'll treasure forever and then some? Something she'll want to wear every day and for years. Something that will always remind her of you. Listen to this online review from Bree. At Oak Heart, the combination of super high-quality pieces and friendly, helpful, down-to-earth service is unbeatable. Believe me, I've been to every jewelry store in town at this point. Save yourself some time and head straight to Oak Heart. Is Bree the best or what? We offer a truly impressive, in other words, huge selection of fine Swiss timepieces, as well as the latest collections from the world's most sought-after designers. We're talking David Yurman, Penny Prevost, Mikimoto Pearls, and Marco Bichigo. Or how about an exclusive Oak Heart design, created by our award-winning master craftsman? Take her breath away. Have her singing, "There's a great work of art in every box from Oak Heart" on Metairie Road.
Can you feel it? Every spring, Earth's gravity shifts as water wanders the planet in a magnificent mass-altering dance. So feel the shift and be pulled toward a new Cadillac. Find yourself attracted to dynamic sedans like the striking CT5, or be drawn to luxurious SUVs like the 3-row XT6. Gravitate to greatness and visit your showroom today. Cadillac. Be iconic. Visit your Louisiana Coastal Cadillac dealer.
When you own a small business, sometimes you need funds fast. So go to OnDeck, America's largest online small business lender with over $14 billion funded. OnDeck makes it easy to apply in minutes and, if approved, get your loan as soon as the same day so you can get back to business. Go to OnDeck.com. Your loan is on deck. Depending on certain loan attributes, your business loan may be issued by OnDeck or Celtic Bank, a Utah Chartered Industrial Bank member FDIC. Limited eligibility for same-day funding. OnDeck does not lend in every state. All loans subject to lender approval.
This spring, festivals will once again be sprouting up all over Louisiana. Come feed your soul during Louisiana.
Yeah, I'm here.
And experience hundreds of festivals celebrating everything from blues to beignets and jazz to jambalaya. So visit Louisiana, because when you're ready to have some fun,
I can't hear you. What?
This is Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser inviting you to join the good time at LouisianaBaton.com.
This story
Okay, got it.
The ugly truth about timeshares. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, well, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder and CEO of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And the process started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. Sounds crazy, right? Well, the crazy thing is, this never ends. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. I guarantee if we can't cancel your timeshare, you'll pay nothing.
Were you lied to when buying a timeshare and want out? Get the facts about timeshare cancellation. Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-885-3333. 800-885-3333. 800-885-3333.
Find podcasts for your passions on
Live after this
like the documentary series Love Thy Neighbor about the 1991 Crown Heights riots.
It was an accident which other people used as an excuse to murder one member of our community.
Or The 11th.
bringing you true, unexpected stories.
And experience the new podcast movie thriller Ghostwriter.
Starring Kate Mara and Adam Scott.
Maybe it's not a whodunit. If we know who the killer is all along, the real mystery is why.
Find all the podcasts that matter to you in a universe of audio.
Odyssey.
All things legal on WWL. Consult with Nicaud and Sunseri now on the Oak Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line. 504-260-1870. And don't forget to rewind on the Odyssey app.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. Let's go to phone lines. Let's go to Mike. Got a question regarding public adjusters. Hey, Mike, what you got for us, brother?
Good morning, fellas. Thank you for taking my call. Actually, it wasn't a question per se. It was just a story, a report. I called one of the local, well, I don't say local, but a public adjuster that advertises a lot locally about 3 weeks ago, and just got put on the phone with this guy that was a real high-pressure salesman. I mean, it's just a bunch of silly BS. And I told him from the beginning of the phone call that I was calling to get some information about public adjusters in general. He said, "Oh yeah, that's fine, that's fine." Anyway, he wants to send me at some point during the conversation, he wants to send me a link where I'm supposed to give them power of attorney or some correlate of that to process my claim for me. And when I told him I wasn't willing to do that I wanted to shop around, then he got really hostile with me. He says, "Oh, well, who else are you going to call?" I said, "Well, I don't really know who else there is. I'm calling you first because you're advertising." "Well, there is nobody else," which is BS. And then he said, what are you going to do here? I said, "Well, what I'm going to do is what I told you before. I'm going to call some other public adjusters and find out, what services they offer, what they charge, and so forth and so on." "Oh, well, this is getting too intense for you, huh?" I said, "Yeah, this is way too intense for me, pal. I'm going to hang up. Goodbye." I mean, it's just a bunch of silly, you're going to do it now or you're going to die in the next 30 seconds kind of crap. And it just, I can't tell you how aggravated I was when I hung up with the guy. So I'm really glad that you guys are bringing this up about public adjusters this morning. Again, I don't want to paint all public adjusters with the same brush, but if this guy's any representative of that industry, I don't want anything to do with him.
Yeah, I think what we're just trying to do is point out what they can and cannot do, and stay in their lane. And I'm sure you might get the same sales pitch from maybe even a lawyer who you'd call in the same situation. I think first of all, anybody who's trying to sell you a professional service, I think after you have the discussion with the professional attorney or public adjuster, if you see the need and you see how they feel it, you're the one who wants to actually buy, not so much based on what they're trying to sell you at that particular time. And I think it's
exactly.
And I think also too, in this situation, it is good to have a thoughtful conversation and answer the what ifs. What if this happens? What if this one of the questions we are asked? What happens if you don't collect anything? Am I on the hook for any money? Or upfront expenses, which we say no. Or what if this happens? What if this happens? And it's really about self-education. I think if you have a medical condition, it's called patient advocacy. You learn as much about your condition so you can intelligently speak about that to professionals who are helping with you. In the same in this situation. And I'm not saying all we're trying to do is to say public adjusters are in this lane, and don't ask them to get outside the lane. And if they represent that they can do something outside the lane, we say, well, maybe that's not correct. And also, too, if they say, if we want to go outside the lane, bring in some attorneys from Texas or Florida to let us help, it's probably not going to make economic sense. And it probably doesn't make sense as far as prosecuting your claim, because we couldn't go to Florida. We could not go to Texas and do as effective job as an attorney as we could here in Louisiana. So we're just trying to point out those particular differences. And you're right, as a life, anytime someone's trying to sell you something in high pressure, it's probably not a good thing. It's just in any industry, in any situation, it's not a good thing, because they don't rely on the fact that the information that you're giving to the consumer in a very calm and very systematic fashion is enough to sell. So we're going to have to put this undue pressure that and try to have you emotionally run you over in order to get your business.
Yeah, just like I said, just the whole attitude of this guy really just irked me. At one point, he actually said to me, "Well, it's obvious you don't even know what you're talking about." I said, "Well, that's absolutely correct. That's why I'm calling you."
Right. Well,
it's I told him at the outset, I'm calling to, I didn't say these words, but I'm calling to check out the landscape here. And he said, that's fine. Which, of course, it wasn't really fine. What he wanted to do was sign me up in the next 10 minutes. Anyway, like I said, again, I don't want to paint all of the public adjusters with the same brush, but this guy was just a clown. And if he's any representation of this public adjuster, you can bet I don't want anything to do with him.
Well, and your house is your biggest investment. I mean, in most people's, largest investment. And so, it's something, it's serious and it's important. And you definitely want to find out, how this process is going to work, how it's going to, what are my risks? What's my benefits? What's it going to cost me? All those issues. How do you go about doing it? Do you have a game plan in place? How often have you done this before? What's your success rate? All those issues are very, very, very important. It's your largest investment.
Right.
And from also too, and I may get in trouble for saying it this way, but homeowners are good citizens. Homeowners are the ones who make neighborhoods, who make this country work. They have families, they pay taxes, they work hard, they pay property taxes. They're working. They're good citizens. And a lot of homeowners, their last resort is to seek help because it's against their nature when there's a problem to call a lawyer unless it's absolutely necessary. And I appreciate that. I appreciate, what homeowners do to make this society run. They're the bedrock of any community. If you look at any community that doesn't have a lot of home ownership, I can promise you there's a lot of crime, there's a lot of decay, there's not a lot of pride. And, in areas that have high ownership interests, you have the opposite. You have civic pride, you have people who work hard, who do what they're supposed to. So, it's very important. But Tom, I thank you.
Yeah, I agree with you. Thank you for taking my call. Again, I'm a professional person myself, and I tell people, if they're making a first inquiry with me, call some other people.
Absolutely.
And they ought to be able they ought to be willing and able to answer any question you ask them, other than a guarantee of what the outcome is going to be. If they offer you a guarantee, walk away.
And well, you know what? In any scenario, whether in politics, in business, if someone is not scared, if someone's willing to take on the hard issues, have discussions about it, that's what you need. And anyone who tries to cancel you, cancel the other side, or put high pressure on you is probably not the direction you want to go in. But thanks for the call, Tom.
Yep.
All right.
Let's
go to our last break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your Weekend Lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
This baseball season turned K's into cash and big hits into big wins with the FanDuel Sportsbook. Sign up with promo code GARRIC. That's promo code GARRIC, GARIC. Right now, new customers can step up to the plate with a risk-free first bet up to $1,000. Just sign up, place your first bet, and FanDuel will refund you up to $1,000 back in site credit if you don't win. The great promotions every day on the app, safe, secure app, and you get paid fast within 2 hours. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code GARRIC to get started with your risk-free first bet up to $1,000. That's promo code GARRIC, GARIC.
21 plus in present Louisiana.
Okay, you're going to have a little over 6 minutes to fill before the end of the show. I had one caller didn't want to stay on. He had a question as when we have a national disaster, why is it so? Why isn't there a law to make it easier on the people who need remediation?
Coverage while enjoying crawfish, jambalaya, hot dogs, plus beverages from Coca-Cola and Bud Light. Plus, enjoy live music, appearances by Saints players, mascots, and the Saints cheer crew. Proceeds benefit Big Brothers Big Sisters of Louisiana. All-inclusive adult tickets are only $25 and are available now at NewOrleansSaints.com.
Are you a business owner doing your own bookkeeping? Why? It makes no sense, literally. Focus on what you do well, like growing your business, and let Accounting Services Unlimited handle your bookkeeping. Hi, this is Thomas Fontes. Accounting Services Unlimited is insanely affordable and will come to you. Call for a free quote.
Okay, last spot is a short one about the new news.
717-6253. That's 717-6253. Or visit us at asu-llc.com.
Food's so good, you just can't stop thinking about it. Imagine perfectly fried shrimp, crab cake, and crispy catfish. Served with cocktail and tartar sauce, coleslaw, onion rings, and french fries. That's our fried seafood platter at Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant. And for dessert, dig into our Oreo crumble cheesecake. New York-style cheesecake on a walnut graham cracker crust, covered with Oreo pieces and chocolate. Only at Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 475-2323.
LA 121 12674. Offices in Baton Rouge.
Call 475-2323.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing message from Freshly. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at freshly.com/terms.
I really want to eat better, but I don't have the time. What can I do? Go to freshly.com. Our nutritionist-approved meals are prepared by skilled chefs and delivered to you fresh every week. I don't have time to prep and cook. Freshly's meals are already cooked. Just put them in the microwave for 3 minutes and you've got a hot, gourmet, delicious, nutritious meal. And now, get $125 off your first 5 orders when you text BITE to 64,000. With Freshly, there's no worry about grocery shopping, ingredient checking, or hours spent prepping and cooking. Savor Freshly's variety, from comfort food classics that are carb-smart and gluten-free to dairy-free options, plant-based meals, and more. And you can adjust meals and deliveries based on your schedule. A healthy, delicious meal in 3 minutes? I have time for that. That's Freshly.
And now get $125 off your first 5 orders when you text BITE to 64,000. That's BITE to 64,000. That's BITE to 64,000.
If you're looking for real news, News Nation doesn't take sides or lean into political agendas. At News Nation, you get all sides. News Nation, news for all America. Go to newsnationnow.com/join us to find your television provider.
All things legal on WWL-AMFM.com and the Odyssey app. Connect with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
All right, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. Also, you can call us at a law firm during the week at 504-837-1304, 504-837-1304, and in North Shore, it's 985-624-9697. And again, everybody has a job to do, and I'm not impugning entire industry, or we don't mean to, but we're just trying to point out the limitations of what, certain individuals in this process or industries can and cannot do. And Albert, I was going to let you comment on that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, sure. Just, buyer beware, just like Doug said, this is one of the biggest investments you might have is your home. You need to get it back up and running, and you want to make sure that the deal that you cut with this public adjuster is fair. And then what happens beyond that? What happens if the line is drawn in the sand with the insurance company? And let me tell you, I'm of the opinion at this point, 8 months after the fact, your claim's not going to get any better from the insurance adjuster's standpoint. At this point, you're going to be needing a lawyer, whether it's our firm, some other local firm. The public adjuster game has kind of run its course at this point, because if you're 8 months late, the damages have been there for a while. The insurance companies are going to, start picking you apart and setting up all their defenses. You're going to need a lawyer to take the next step. What you don't want to do is lose 10% of your claim to a public adjuster and then turn around and have to hire a lawyer and lose another percentage of it. It just makes sense at this point. If you're 8 months out and you still haven't been paid,
4 minutes.
You need to take the next step and probably hire an attorney to get you paid. At this point, if they haven't paid you in this amount of time, it's likely they are in bad faith. It's likely that something was submitted that wasn't paid and should have been. So, like I said, I think the whole public adjuster game has kind of run its course at this point, and you likely will need to take a step that would provide you some enforcement mechanism.
Now, I just got to text Albert. It's a little on our insurance claim, and you can talk about it real quick before we go out. Issue of cabinets. You have, let's say you have a set of cabinets. A portion of the cabinets are damaged. The other portion's not. You can't match them. How should that be dealt with?
Well, again, actually somebody sent an email to our office regarding that and said that, the State Farm Adjuster said Louisiana is not a matching state. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. So if your cabinets are damaged at the base, are you supposed to have now different cabinets at the bottom and as opposed to the top? And again, if it's not a floodplain, right? The chances are the rain came from the top through the roof, and so I would think that the upper cabinets would have some damage as well as at least the base of the lower cabinet, since the water poured onto the floor. So all of those things need to be examined by someone that's a professional, someone that is trained to look at that and can write you a report and get it to us to argue the legal aspect of Louisiana is the nonsense that Louisiana is not a matching state. If they can't find baseboards or whatever that match the other baseboards and they have to be made, then that's what you're going to have to do. We're going to have to get a blade cut and have them run, 400 linear feet of baseboard that match the rest of it, because these baseboards you can't buy anymore. The deal is we're going to put it back the way it was. So, I wouldn't, don't give up on that claim.
Yes. And again, you saw the highlight. I've had several claims adjusters in response state things that as if they were a fact, they turned out to be at best an opinion, and an unsubstantiated opinion. And so a lot of times, always, if you're addressing a claims adjuster and they say something like that and say, well, what's your basis for saying that?
Point to that in the policy.
Yeah, quote in policy.
Where it says that.
Yeah. So a lot. And
see what they.
Yeah, and I told a story on a roof that we just had. Roof was paid. Roof damage was paid. The insurance company, this invoice stated it had to be replaced, couldn't be repaired due to hurricane damage, the whole thing. And I asked the adjuster, I said, well, why haven't you paid it to date? And they had to hire me. And they said, well, in the estimate, it didn't say how many squares were repaired. And I said, let's just stop. Can I record you so that we understand that this is the issue, and so that when we go in front of the judge and the decline to be recorded, and then a few minutes later I got an email saying we paid for it. But Al, any parting comments on the Pelicans? Any predictions?
I think the Pelicans win tonight, and I think they win the series, actually. I think the coach is going to get together and make it happen.
See you next week.
Home of the Saints and LSU.